Welcome to Dundas Square. Welcome to Toronto Peace, most powerful rally of today against the war.
This is truly a historic day. People need to know that this is the largest ever mobilization of people in human history.
Million of people in London, England. More than million in Rome, Italy. Hundreds of thousands around cities around the globe. It's a global unity for peace and the global message no to war.
C'est une journée historique. Jamais dans l'histoire du monde est-ce que le peuple du monde tout entière a parlé dans la même voix pour dire une chose, non à la guerre.
And let you remember and let your children remember that on February 15th, you were here, joined by 35 million people. Let the people hear. Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war! Stop the war!
So many of the family members of the victims of September 11 and so many family of the soldiers in the US saying, not in our name, George Bush. You don't go to war in our name. And here in Canada, we say, not in our name, Mr. Chrétien. Listen to the people. No to war in Iraq and no to troops to Afghanistan. Any imperialism act, it says no for aggression, and as a Canadian, we will not stand for it.
I'm here as a rabbi and a religious Jew to add a voice from the religious Jewish community, among many others who are here, to peace and to justice and against the rush to war and destruction.
Today, hundreds of thousands of us are gathering around the world, from Cairo to Kigali, from Burundi to Botswana, from London to Lisbon, and even here in Toronto and in 80 cities across Canada. We're joined together to say no to US aggression.
Canada worked very hard to find a compromise to bridge the gap in the Security Council. Unfortunately, we were not successful. If military action proceeds without a new resolution of the Security Council, Canada will not participate.
We know why we're here today. Many of us have been fighting this war from before it began. We're here to object to the terrible farce that took place when the U.S. government allegedly handed over power to the Iraqi people. We know that was an absolute farce, a political farce of the greatest dimension. The Iraqi people are still struggling against the U.S. occupation. They're struggling for the right to self-determination in their own land, and millions, billions of people around the world have demonstrated over the last period of time in solidarity with the just and courageous struggle of the Iraqi people.
We have made history today because this rally was announced several weeks ago, and we scared the living daylights out of George Bush and his cronies that they brought the transfer of the so-called sovereignty by 2 days.
Peace be upon my brothers and sisters in struggle. We are here to support human rights in Iraq. We are here to condemn the American occupation in Iraq. We are here to talk about the phony sovereignty transfer that took place prematurely 2 days ago in Baghdad. As for the supposed sovereignty transfer, America is replacing a Ba'athist regime with another one. Everyone knows that Iraq's new Prime Minister, Alawi, has been on the CIA payroll.
End the occupation! Troops home now! End the occupation! Troops home now! End the occupation! Troops home now! Coming back to Palestine!
Occupation is a crime!
And you are the people on the front lines in the Western countries. Because there's two front lines right now. There's the one that the Iraqi people are fighting, paying with their very lives to have freedom in their own country, and we are their allies right here, creating and forming and enhancing public opinion. Because of you, Canadian troops did not go into Iraq.
It's not a war on terrorism, it's a war of terrorism, neo-imperialism. You know that money is the reason they drop bombs to kill people, not to free them. It's not a war on terrorism, it's a war of terrorism, neo-imperialism. You know that money is the reason they drop bombs to kill people, not to free them. Well, if you like war, then you can't complain with another.
We estimate that you are one of 7,000 people to march today in Toronto.
Saddam Hussein, Saddam rigged elections, pushed it also. He lost though, till he took office pronto. Saddam ignores the UN, so does the US. At the World Summit of Racism, they turned their backs. Saddam invades countries, pushes do the same. Assassinates enemies just like the CIA. Saddam kills his own people to this day. Bush is the second biggest killer in the USA. He's surpassed only by Timothy McVeigh. If George hadn't killed him off, then maybe he could run for office. All this, they share in common. If they want to square it up, it's not a problem. Put her in and we're gonna watch them. But don't be surprised if they don't fight for the weather. And secretly they'll probably work together. It's not far-fetched if you recall the data. US of Saddam, Osama, and Noriega.
Before we begin, pursuant to Rule 6, all witnesses who testify before this subcommittee are required to be sworn. This time I would ask you to rise and please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give before this subcommittee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I gave my political life's blood to try to stop the mass killing of Iraqis by the sanctions on Iraq, which killed 1 million Iraqis, most of them children. Most of them died before they even knew that they were Iraqis. But they died for no other reason other than that they were Iraqis, with the misfortune to be born at that time. I gave my heart and soul to stop you committing the disaster that you did commit in invading Iraq. And I told the world that your case for the war was a pack of lies. I told the world that Iraq, contrary to your claims, did not have weapons of mass destruction. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that Iraq had no connection to Al-Qaeda. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that Iraq had no connection to the atrocity on 9/11/2001. I told the world, contrary to your claims, that the Iraqi people would resist a British and American invasion of their country, and that the fall of Baghdad would not be the beginning of the end, but merely the end of the beginning. Senator, in everything I said about Iraq, I turned out to be right, and you turned out to be wrong. And 100,000 people have paid with their lives. 1,600 of them American soldiers, sent to their deaths on a pack of lies. 15,000 of them wounded, many of them disabled forever, on a pack of lies.
Please help me welcome George Galloway. It's a basic, a biological fact not yet grasped by all, that you can't be a little bit pregnant. You can't send 1,000 Canadian soldiers to join Bush's coalition of the killing in occupying the territory and the people of Afghanistan and claim to be neutral in George Bush's wars around the world.
My name is Himi Syed. I'm a volunteer with Toronto Coalition to Stop the War. Today is Wednesday, October 26, 2005, the day after the Pentagon, the Defense Department of the United States, has announced the 2,000 U.S. service personnel to die of his injuries that he gained in Iraq. We are in solidarity with the hundreds of vigil locations around the United States held right now. The title is 2,000 Too Many. And that is 1 U.S. service personnel for every 50 Iraqi civilians that have died. So it's actually 102,000 people that have died in the, since the U.S. invasion of Iraq began in 2003.
I'd like to first thank the panel for being here, for that very nice welcome. We still need this refuge. We still need this haven of peace. And for your government has been taken over by a neocon carbon copy of the Bush administration. And it's exactly like George Bush.
We would like to express our indignation at the stand of the Canadian government that has remained silent while Israel is committing massacres against the Palestinian people. This is a government which was the first government to cut links with the new government that was elected democratically by the Palestinian people, and it has also cut funds to the Palestinian people who are now being starved, bombed, and terrorized by Israel.
And the occupation! Troops out now! And the occupation! Troops out now! And the occupation! Troops out now! And the occupation! Troops out now!
The people united will never be defeated! 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 The people united will never be.
Free Palestine! Free, free Lebanon! Free, free Lebanon!
Troops out now! Troops out now! Troops out now! Troops out now!
Being here today reminds me of previous gatherings, like the time we gathered and put a stop to the idea that Canada should be a part of the invasion of Iraq. Or the time there were gatherings here when we said no to George Bush's missile defense and the weaponization of space. Well, I get the feeling that we're making some history here today as well. And in communities, I had down 32 communities, it's now 37 communities all across the country, because there's a growing movement of Canadians who are deeply concerned about Canada's combat role in Afghanistan.
War resistors, welcome here! War resistors, welcome here! War resistors, welcome here!
The war resistors have come to Canada seeking sanctuary because they agree with Canada staying out of Iraq. They too want to stay out of Iraq. Phil McDowell just arrived 2 weeks ago today. Justin Colby arrived in September. One of the pioneers of the war resistors is Brandon Huey, who arrived in March 2004.
War resistors, welcome here! War resistors, welcome here! War resistors, welcome here!
Since June 1st of this year, over 300 Palestinians have been killed. 300 civilians.
Not in our name unites Jews who stand in solidarity with the movement for Palestinian rights. Zionism does not speak for us.
We want to be telling everyone in Canada that the Canadian government is supporting apartheid, and we will not stop organizing. We will not be silenced until Israeli apartheid ends, and until Canadian support for Israeli apartheid ends completely. Fight the power, turn the tide!
End Israeli apartheid!
Fight the power, turn the tide!
End Israeli apartheid!
Local protesters lashed out against Prime Minister Stephen Harper in Toronto tonight.
Bush and Harper, bring the troops back!
Protesters chanted and dressed up in costumes outside the Conservative Party convention. The group of environmentalists and anti-war advocates said that they're upset with the PM's lack of action on climate change. They also say they don't support Harper's stance in the war in Afghanistan.
If you look at how much money that they're putting into pushing for war around the world, and then you look at the amount of money they're putting into environmental programs, eco programs, it's just not on the same scale.
Prime Minister Harper wasn't at the convention today. He'll be in town on the weekend.
On March 20th, 2003, the United States and the so-called Coalition of the Willing began their brutal war against Iraq. And on that day, over 20,000 people joined an emergency demonstration at this very location to protest the war. And at the intersection of Bloor and Yonge, there were over 2,000 students in a massive anti-war occupation that stopped traffic. The following Saturday, another 50,000 people marched in Toronto, calling for the bombing to stop. In the first 3 months of 2003, tens of millions of people, just like you and me, all over the world, marched in protest against the war. And although we did not stop Bush's war, we stopped many other countries from joining the bombing of Iraq, including Canada.
This state lies to us, telling us that we are in Afghanistan to promote democracy, while at the same time it was that Canada that in February of 2004 participated in the overthrow of the most popular government in Haiti's history.
Out of Afghanistan, out of Iraq, Bush and Harper, bring the troops back!
It's great to see so many people came out today to support and speak out against injustice and the killing of so many innocent people today in Somalia.
End your occupation! Troops is out now! We don't want a war! Troops out now!
This is a humanitarian crisis, and Canada and the rest of the world have to say enough of this, and this aggression and killings against innocent people must stop. It must stop now.
marka aad u maasantii inaad soo baxdaan waxaan haynaa waraaqo oo loo qaybinayo MPyada marka qofka ilaa hadda aan saxiixin inuu saxiixo annakaana gudbinayna aad u maasantii. Assalaamu calaykum.
Toronto Disaster Relief Committee and the Canadian Peace Alliance are asking individuals and organizations to sign a declaration stating that they want a housing, not war strategy from the federal government. Canadian troops should come home, and funding towards war and militarism should go towards housing and other peaceful purposes. As homelessness worsens in Canada, the federal government can no longer justify spending untold billions of dollars on war.
A woman of integrity, a woman whose life has been repeatedly threatened, and yet she has refused to stay silent. She is speaking out in Afghanistan and around the world, and I believe that her security and her safety, her personal safety, depend on international solidarity. And I believe that the safety and the future of the people of Afghanistan depends on international solidarity and the international peace movement as opposed to military invasions. So I also want to join with my colleagues in welcoming Malala Joya. We are so privileged to have you here this evening. Thank you for being with us.
With your support, I want to tell you that you are giving helping hands to pro-democracy and anti-fundamentalist movements in Afghanistan. And you put extra responsibility on my shoulders as an Afghan freedom-loving person to continue to my struggle against enemies of our people that today, unfortunately, they are in power with the mask of democracy in our country.
At this moment in time for
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have a big
I just both letters in the room.
Hello.
End the war now! 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 Shame on you, Mr. Peacock! End the war now! End the mission in Afghanistan. Why are the Liberals backing the Tories for a second time? End the mission in Afghanistan. A majority of Canadians don't want this mission extended.
I am very, very proud to be standing here with Stéphane Dion, a man of conscience, a man of integrity, who fights for Canada, who fights for peace.
We are here because a majority of Canadians want the troops to come home. A majority of Canadians do not support the extension of the mission in Afghanistan past 2009, yet the Liberals are poised to back the Conservatives for a second time to extend the mission. In 2006, a majority of Liberals actually voted against an extension of the mission to 2009. Only 24 Liberals made it possible for the Conservatives to extend it to 2009. What has happened since then that now the party is going to back an extension for another 3 years when a majority of Canadians want the troops to come home? This is not the behavior of an opposition party. We are calling on the Liberals to line up with the majority of Canadians, to stand up to Stephen Harper, to say that we want this mission to end. We want the troops to come home. We don't want to be supporting a government in Afghanistan that's dominated by warlords or drug lords. Afghanistan now provides 93% of the world opium supply. Why are the Liberals backing this? This is not what democracy looks like. This is not what we think democracy should look like. So we're calling on the Liberals to stand with the majority of Canadians across this country to not extend it and to end it.
Thank you very much.
That these fairly well-reasoned protesters, we're all right here right now.
We're going to run over people behind us here.
Neither of you addressed in the remarks the issue that these protesters were raising. Outside.
Don't vote for the war a second time. Don't vote for the war, Mr. Dion. Show some backbone. Pretend you're an opposition leader. Don't vote with the Conservatives. Stop the war. Bring the troops home.
I'm traveling with them.
How are the Liberals going to vote next week on Afghanistan?
If you claim to be the opposition party, why are you continually voting for conservative bills? It's not possible for you to criticize those bills and then to go ahead and vote for it. And this question of Afghanistan is a central issue for Canadians. Under 20% of Canadians want to see the mission extended past 2009, yet the Liberals are poised to back an extension. The conditions in Afghanistan have become worse. Almost 80 Canadian troops have been killed in Afghanistan. The Liberals are providing no alternative. They're saying that they oppose the current mission, but they're prepared to back it for another 3 years. How many more Canadian troops are going to be killed in that 3-year period because the Liberals are afraid of an election right now? And to us, that's not showing any leadership whatsoever. That's political opportunism.